Hello, my name is Jonas Dizoglu. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to develop a software application by using Visual Studio and also how to make this software application nice and attractive. For this video tutorial, we need to use Photopea.com. Also, we need to use a website called gifmaker.me as well as Visual Studio. Alright. To get started, let's go to the Photopea first. We're going to go to File, select New, and then we're going to basically create a project where the width is, let's make it 800 by 600. Click Create. Okay, now you have created your canvas. Let's go here and let's basically introduce on the bottom right corner, we're going to introduce a new layer. Now we're going to go to the background. With the background layer selected, we are going to select this delete layer icon. So we have nice transparent background. So now I'm going to select this option here, this rectangle, and I'm going to hold the left key down so I can actually see all these options. I'm just going to select the parametric shape. So then I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to change the color to basically gradient. Okay. Then I'm going to use here, click on the gradient, inside the gradient, and I can actually change the gradient by clicking and dragging here. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to click here, just below this, to introduce a new chassis, and then click and drag to bring it to the other side. Let's click OK. Now I cannot see the shape properly, so maybe this is the effect that you would like to have, but let's bring this shape right in the center. I'm just going to make the shape a bit bigger. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to select Free Transform, and I'm going to click and drag to increase the size of the shape to take the whole canvas. It's okay if I have some margins, it's no worry, don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to press the Enter key to register this size now, and I can actually go back now to the shape here, and I can actually see the fill color here. I can click here again, and I could actually manipulate this further. I can double click it and change the color, okay. Or I could actually click just below to introduce a new chassis, double click it, and change the color to something else. Okay, and if I change my mind, I can always basically, if I have extra sashes there, I can click and drag them downwards to remove them. Okay, so far so good. So I'm happy with the shape that I've got. I'm happy with the color that I have. I'm just going to click now OK. All right. The next thing I need to do now is go to File and select Export and Export PNG. Okay, and click Save. So I've got now my first PNG. The next thing we need to do now is I'm just going to go back to the shapes now. I'm just going to create a new project in Photopea, File, select New, and I'm just going to change that to maybe 100 and let's make it 250. 250 by 250. Let's create that. I'm just going to basically use now the gradient tool. Let's use this shape again. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to Edit, select Free Transform. Let's change the size slightly. So as you can see here, I've added two shapes there. Let's press the Enter key to register that one. So this shape, I can actually lose it, so I can click and drag it to the trash can. Yeah. Okay, I'll just add another one. Okay, that's trash can. Okay, I'm going to use the Move tool. Let's move this around. Let's make sure we select the right shape before we move things around. Let's delete the background. Okay, and let's change the color slightly. So I'm going to select the shape here. Let's change the color slightly, so it's going to stand out. So I'm just going to bring this on this side. Okay, that's good. Okay, now The next thing I need to do now is go to File, select Export, PNG, okay, and I'm going to go now again and change the color. I'm just going to change the angle down, so to there, okay, and I'm just going to go to File and select Export as PNG, okay. The last two pictures are the same size, so I'll just rotate a little bit the angle of the colors. So now I can go to the animated GIF maker and browse the two pictures. So these are the two pictures. So I can click and drag to highlight them both and click open. So I've got my two pictures there, and now I can create an GIF animation. You can play around with the settings here so you can see how it looks like. So by dragging and dragging, you can actually change things around. Let's reduce. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So now I'm happy with that. I can actually select view the GIF or just download the GIF. So I'm just going to download the GIF file here. So I've done now with my pictures. I can minimize this now, and I can now go to my actual project, create a new project in Visual Studio. So I'm going to go to File, select New Project. It's going to be a C# project, and it's going to be a Windows C# project. It's going to be a Windows application. So I'm going to select Windows Form App.NET Framework. Click Next. You can name the object appropriately. So I'm just going to call it my cool app v2 and click create because I already had v1. Okay, the next thing I need to do now, I've got my first form. I need to create a new form here, so I'm going to go to project, select add Windows form. So I've got now form 1 and form 2. I'm just going to leave the default names for now. So I've got form 1 and form 2. You can click and drag the form 1 to go on the left hand side, form 1 and form 2. Now then, with the form 1 selected, what I need to do, I'm just going to increase the size of the window, something like this, okay? And I'm going to change the size of this window as well, so it doesn't really matter what size the window will be. However, if you would like to basically have the exact size when the screen loads on both forms, what you need to do is select the form, go to the properties, scroll right down to the bottom, and where it says size, you basically change these values, the width and the height. And if you want to make it the same, I can copy the width and the height from this form 2, and I can go now to form 1 and basically paste them there. Oops. Paste them, and I press the enter key. Now I know that form 1 and form 2 now is exactly the same size. Okay, with form 1 selected now, I am going to select a panel from the toolbox and drag it over, and I'm just going to increase the size of my panel to something like this. Let's bring it to here. Then what I need to do is basically go to the properties panel and basically change two values. So the back color, I'm going to change the back color to the web, and I'm going to select dark gray, and I'm going to select the background image. Let's select background image, and I'm going to import one of the pictures. Let's go there. Let's go to the project. Let's go to the download. Sorry, downloads. Let's hold the control key down on my keyboard and use the wheel of the mouse to zoom in. So, and then I'm going to use this picture. Now this picture is the 800 by 600. I'm going to click OK. And as you can see here is tiled background. So what I need to do now here, I need to basically change the tiles to basically center. Or I could actually make it stretch. It's up to you. So let's make it stretch. Okay. So this means that the bigger I will go on the panel, the picture will follow. Anyway, once you're happy with this, what you need to do is copy this, and I'm just going to paste this here on the form 2. So form 2 we could actually change the background picture. Let's create another picture here. Let's go back to Photopea. Let's go here to this project. I'm just going to change the colors here slightly. So I'm going to select this tool here. With this tool selected, I'm going to select the fill color. I'm going to click here on the gradient. I'm just going to change the color slightly. I'm just going to make this blue and leave it green, actually. Yeah, blue and green. So I'm going to go to File, select Export, PNG, and click Save. So now if I minimize this and go back here, so now I'm on Form 2. If I select my panel and I go to the background picture, and click on the 3 dots, select Import, and now I'm going to double click on my this picture. Now if you cannot see this picture because the picture is hidden like that, use the Control key on the mouse and the wheel on your mouse to basically zoom in. Double click it, click OK. So now Form 1 and Form 2 has different colors, okay? But I've got here slightly different location. The Form 1 and Form 2, the panel is on different location. So don't worry about it. I'm happy with that. Or if you want to make sure that it's in the exact location, what you can do, you can right click, copy that, delete that one, highlight and click once, and press the delete key on the keyboard. Then right click and select paste. Then go back to Form 1, delete that one from here, right click and select paste. So when you paste things, you paste things in exactly the same location. You can always change it through the properties, but I found this process a lot quicker. So now I've got both panels in the same location. So now I can actually select the Form 2, select the panel, and then go to the background picture and change it to the new picture I've created. I don't have to import it again because it's already added onto my project. So I will have now Form 1 and Form 2. The next thing we need to do is now go to Form 1 and we need to go to the code view. So if we press Start now, what we're going to be able to see is basically a nuclear background with a form here. Okay, we want to lose everything apart from this nice shape. Let's stop the project. Before I go to the code, actually, I need to change the background color of the form. So click once on the form, go to the background color, to the back color, drop down the list, select web, and then select dark gray. And do the same for the Form 2 as well. Click once on the Form 2, go to the background and select dark gray. Once you have selected web, dark gray. So now we go back to Form 1 and we need to go now to the code view. Now by going to the code view, we will be able to add the code that we need in order to create the transparency. So this is where basically the magic really begins. So to do this, what we need to do is when we need to go to the public Form 1, let's press the enter key a few times. The first line of code, we're going to basically refer to the current form. So we'll say this dot form border style is equals to system dot windows dot forms dot form border style dot none, semicolon to add your statement. Then we're referring back to this current form, so we'll say this dot back color is equals to color dot dark gray, semicolon to your statement. Let's double check that. Oops, color. Okay, color dot dark gray. Let's double check that we have dark gray here. Dark gray, that's good. And another line of code we're going to put this again. We refer to the current form. This dot transparent key is equals to color dot dark gray, semicolon to your statement. Okay. The next thing we need to do after the initialize component, Let's delete the extra spaces now to keep the code nice and neat. After the initialize component, what we need to do is basically, let's create a function. I'll call this function cool. So at the moment it's not recognized because we have not created the function yet. So the next thing we need to do is after the curly bracket, let's press the enter key a few times. And here we're going to create the function. So we're going to say private point first point is equals to new point open close bracket semicolon .useState. Now we're going to say public void, and then I'm calling the function so cool, and open and closing curly bracket, open and closing parentheses, and now I'm opening and closing curly brackets. So now because the function exists, so this line here is not underlined red yet. Okay, so you can give this any name you like. Okay, so within the public void cool now, I'm going to put, I want to basically identify where my mouse cursor is and where my, what will happen every time somebody clicks on the actual object. Just before I actually go ahead and do that, based on these 3 lines of code, let's have a look what we've done, just to show you what these 3 lines of code does. So basically picking up the gray color and making the gray color dark gray to transparent. So if we press start, you're no longer going to be able to see this ugly square box. So you have this now, but we cannot interact with this, we cannot click and drag it. So this is why we need a function now. We need to create a function which will allow us to click and drag this object, this panel. Okay, so this is where we are now, public void cool. Okay, so what we need to do here now is this. We need to basically refer to our panel. So our panel has a name, we'll call it panel 1. Now, if you have changed your panel, the name of your panel, if you select the panel here, and you scroll down to the name, my panel is called panel 1. Now if I rename my panel to something else, obviously you need to put this particular specific name here because you basically call it this panel. Okay, so I'm searching for my panel now, so I will say panel 1 dot mouse down. That's mouse down, and then I will say plus equals, in brackets I will say ss comma ee, and then I will say equals or greater than. Then I'm going to open a curly bracket, and automatically Visual Studio will close the curly bracket for me, and I'm going to create an if statement now. So I will say if ee.button is equals system.windows .forms.mouse buttons.left. If this value is true, if this argument is true, then I want something to happen. And what I want to happen has to be within curly brackets. So I'm going to open new curly brackets there, and I will say first point is equals to control.mouse position. Oops. First point equals control dot mouse position, semicolon to my statement. Okay, so now I've done that. What I need to do is put here a semicolon to end my statement, the first statement here, which is the panel 1 mouse down. So when the mouse is down, okay, I would refer to the left click, mouse down. That's what is going to take place. Okay, the first point equals control mouse position. So we track now the position of the mouse. Now we're going to create another argument here. I will say panel 1 dot mouse move. So we need to make sure that when the mouse moves, something will happen. So mouse move plus equals. Then we refer now to ss, comma ee, and we'll say equals or greater than. Then we open curly brackets, and here we're going to put another if statement. So we'll say if, and then in brackets we'll say ee.button is equals to system.windows.forms.mouse button dot left. If that's true, then we need to open and close curly brackets now, because this is only if it's true, this will execute it. Then point space, it's going to create a temporary position here, temp equals control.mouse position. Oops. Control.mouse position. Semicolon to my statement. Now I'm going to say point res equals new point, and then within brackets I need to basically put the location. So first point dot x, I'm looking for the x value, minus the temporary position of the x, comma first point dot y, minus temp dot y, and then I'm going to put some code in the statement. Okay. The next line of code we're going to add, again we call it a panel, so we'll say panel dot location, panel 1. Let's put this down. Panel 1 dot location equals new point panel dot location dot x minus res dot x panel 1 dot location, and then we're looking for the y value, location dot y minus the res dot y. Semicolon to that statement, and finally we're going to say first point equals temp, temporary position, semicolon to end our statement, and here we're going to put a semicolon to basically close this argument that we have here. Okay, now we've done this, let's basically try it. So if we click on the start button, let's click yes. Okay, we have an issue there. Alright, so if we double click here, we'll be able to actually see that there is an issue here. Okay, that's why, because left is a predefined variable, so we need to basically put a capital L. Let's stop this project. Also, we have an issue here. Instead of res, I put reds. Okay. Right. So let's give another go. So press start. Let's minimize this. Now, if I click and drag, it should move. So click and drag. Okay, that's cool. All right. So now I've got a problem now because this is going away. So let's fix that next. So let's close this. Stop this project. So I'm going to go back to my Visual Studio, and I'm going to click on the form 1, and I'm just going to click once on the form 1 here. And if I scroll down here on the properties panel, I will be able to actually see the initial state. Okay, Windows state. It says normal. I'm just going to drop down the list here and select maximize. Okay, so if I click now start and minimize everything, so now I will be able to actually see my shape all around. Okay, So far so good. Let's go back to the project and let's stop this project again of running. Now I have added all this code here. What I need to do, I need to basically, because I'm lazy, I need to basically copy all this code back and put it on form 2. So form 2, with the form 2 selected, I'm going to right click here. Oops. I'm going to right click and select view code. Okay, so the only difference between this form and this form here was before the fact that this is form 1 and this is form 2. Form 2, okay. So as long as I'm keeping the code, the form 2 here, can you see here, public form 2 appears here, form 2 once and form 2 here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to delete all this code now. I'm going to go to the form 1, Control A to highlight all the code, right click and select copy, or Control C to copy. I'm just going to go to form 2 now, right click and select paste, or Control V to paste. And the only thing I need to do now here is change the form 1 to form 2 here, and then change form 1 there to form 2. Now, by doing this now, I've got exactly the same code on both forms. However, now I will not be able to see the form 2 because when I actually run the software, the form 1 loads. So what I need to do now, I need to basically create some buttons, a button on form 1, which will allow me to navigate to the form 2. So if I go to the toolbox and select the button, and click and drag, just gonna make it big enough there. Let's make it a bit more attractive. I will say, yeah, form 2. Now you can always go to the properties here and change the font color, the font style, etc., etc. I'm going to make it 26. Okay, a bit too big. Or let's increase the size of this a bit. Okay. Okay. So you can change the background color to something else. So let's make it web. Let's keep it. No, let's make it a bit more soft. Okay, and okay, I'm happy with that. Let's change the font color as well. So the font color. Oops. So the font color. I'm just going to change the font color to. Yeah, that will do. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this button because I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Go to the form 2 and Control V to paste. Basically bring it over here. Okay. And I could change the background color. Just change it a little bit. Okay. And change the font color. That's a bit darker. Okay, this will do. All right. So now when I click on this button, so I want to navigate to the form 2. And when I click on this button, I want to navigate to the form 1. So because I want to navigate to the form 1, I need to change that to form 1. Okay, let's put the code now. If you go to the form 1, let's double click on the form 2 button. The first thing we need to do is basically create the instances of both forms. So I'm going to say form 1, and I will call it F1. You can call it whatever you want. Is equals to new form 1. Semicolon to your statement. Let's put brackets as well. Let's make it capital F. All right. So I'm going to copy this now. Oops, copy this line, and I'm going to create now another instance now of form 2. So form 2 F2, and then I'm just going to put here form 2. All right. So I've created 2 new instances. Now, because I'm on form 1, I will say this dot hide, and I want to make visible the form 2. So I'm going to say f2 dot show, open close brackets, and a semicolon to your statement. I'm going to copy now these lines of code, these 4 lines of code. I'm going to go to the form 2, and I'm going to double click on the form, on the button on the form 2, and basically paste my code there. And the only thing I need to change here is change that to form 1, F1, because this is now referring, because I'm on form 2, referring to form 2. So now if we click here to save all the project files and press the start button, let's minimize this. I can click and drag now to move the object around, and you can put whatever you like here, content, labels, pictures, etc, etc. And if I click on form 2, it will take me to form 2. And if I click form 1 there, this is for the form 2, sorry. So I need to make sure I change. Let's stop that. Let's make sure that it starts maximized. So we'll stop the project. Make sure you always stop the project, otherwise the change that you're going to make once you change the project will go revert back to the way it was before. So always check that your project is not running. So I'm going to go to form 2 now on design view. I'm going to click on the form, and I'm just going to scroll down, and where it says Windows state, change that to maximized. So if I press now start again, it loads form 1. I can move things around, okay, and I click form 2. I can move form 2 around, and if I click form 1 and form 2, can you see here it's opening the same location. Okay, let's stop the project now. Let's put the animated GIF there in place. So let's stop this. I'm going now to add on the form 1. I'm going to add a picture box, and I'm going to increase the size. Okay, and I'm just going to put a picture box. Let's put a picture box here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to click on the play button, choose an image, and this time I'm going to select the animated GIF that we created earlier. Click open, click OK. All right, so now I'm going to make sure that the background color is set to dark gray. Otherwise, we won't be able to have the transparent background. And now if I press start, okay, I've got here, this because it's in between the shapes here. So let's go to back to the picture. Let's bring this here. Let's have a look. Okay, it's created transparency there. Okay, so you could actually check what is in between the stuff. Yeah, so you're basically creating a shape that you can see throughout another shape, and then you're creating an animation. Now I accidentally did this. It looks quite good. I like it. Okay, so most of the stuff I've discovered by accident, so that's quite cool. I like that. However, if you don't want to have this, if we basically go back to the project, quite good. I'm very impressed. If we go here and change the background color to something else, so to transparent, and you click play, we could actually have this picture box. Let's actually stretch as well. Let's make sure that is change that to stretch image. Okay, I'm just going to put this there. Let's see how it's going to look here, because we need to attach that to the actual panel. Okay, so it's kind of looks maybe rude. Let's take it. So I need to put it down. Let's put it somewhere else. Let's put it there. Okay, make sure it is within your panel, otherwise it will not show the full thing. Okay, so just put it there. Okay, cool. Let's try now. Basically, we'll just create a little character. We could put a little eye there. Okay, so that's how you created animations as well, to make your phone a bit more interesting, you know, than the boring stuff. You know, I want the future developers, you know, to create some more fancy stuff. So then we can go to form 1 and form 2, form 1 and form 2, and then form 2 we can actually put this animation as well. Hope you've learned something new today. I hope you will use these new skills of yours to create great stuff. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.